It's funny to think that among so many superheroes, the most powerful character in The Incredibles is actually Jack Jack. He's just a baby, yet he already has a whole bunch of superpowers. But do you really know all the special abilities of this prodigy baby? One of the funniest powers he shows off in The Incredibles 2 happens when Jack Jack is taken to Edna Mode's house and starts turning into her bit by bit. He even gets her hair and nose, which completely freaks Edna out. It's impossible not to laugh watching the baby turn into, well, that thing. Jack Jack manages to do this because he has the ability to change form. He can literally copy someone's physical features to take on their appearance. Jack Jack only managed to transform partially, but it's easy to imagine that once he learns to fully control this power, he could turn into a perfect copy of anyone. He also has other types of shape changes, along with many completely different abilities. Shapeshifting might be Jack Jack's weakest power, but this little baby is capable of so much more. Ready to find out all 19 of Jack Jack's powers, from the weakest to the strongest? So grab your popcorn and get comfy on the couch. Another Cinewave is starting. It's not one of his strongest powers, but it could definitely be useful. Shrinking. Jack Jack only used this ability in a deleted scene, but anyone who's seen an Ant-Man movie knows how versatile that kind of power can be. You've heard of Superman's super breath, but what about a super sneeze? Yep, Jack Jack can let out incredibly powerful sneezes, and we see it in the same scene where he mimics Edna's appearance. His sneeze is so strong it launches him straight into the ceiling. We've all sneezed hard enough to feel dizzy, but one that sends you flying across the room? That's next level. Even though this power seems pretty weak for now, if Jack Jack learns to control it, it could become a hilarious but powerful surprise attack. Poor villain who gets hit by a super sneeze. Right after that sneeze, Jack Jack doesn't hit the floor immediately. Instead, he starts floating in midair. That's his levitation power, which he actually uses quite often. From what we've seen, Jack Jack can't exactly fly freely, but he can rise and float around like he's in a zero-gravity room. He can even crawl on ceilings and walls like it's the floor. But hey, we're talking about a baby with limitless potential here, so who knows? With some training, Jack Jack might actually learn to control his levitation enough to truly fly. Imagine that! Not even walls can stop Jack Jack, since one of his many abilities lets him phase through any solid surface like a ghost. This power is called Intangibility. That means it's basically impossible to trap Mr. Incredible's son. What's fun about this one is that Jack Jack doesn't really know how to use it properly yet. He's still a baby after all. In one scene, he actually gets his foot stuck in a door because he turned off his intangibility halfway through. It's a funny reminder that even though he's super powerful, Jack Jack still has a lot to learn. Interestingly, Jack Jack has another ability that's pretty similar. He can turn his entire body into smoke. In this form, he can probably pass through small openings, but the real advantage is that he becomes completely immune to punches, which just go right through him. Punching air is never a smart move. Then again, his intangibility might already do something similar, letting attacks pass through him. But he seems to find it easier to turn into gas than to keep his ghost form active for long. So that's something to consider. Most of Jack Jack's powers are physical, but he also has a mental one that's super famous in the superhero world: telekinesis. In The Incredibles 2, during his fight with the raccoon, we see him use this power to make a trash can lid float and land perfectly in place. Everyone knows this kind of ability can get insanely powerful and dangerous, but Jack Jack doesn't seem to have much control over it yet. He really has to focus hard to use it. We're not sure if that's just because he's a baby or if his telekinesis is naturally weak. Still, once he learns to lift bigger objects and even people with ease, this power is definitely going up in the rankings. And if you love this baby too, drop a comment below with hashtag #JackJack. Think Mr. Incredible is the only strong one in the family? Not really. The baby has already shown off some serious super strength. He should be extremely weak for his age, but he actually trades punches with a raccoon and throws it across the yard like it's nothing. Of course, that's nowhere near Mr. Incredible's level, but just imagine how much stronger Jack Jack will get as he grows up. He might become as strong as his dad, or even stronger. This little guy's durability goes way beyond what a normal baby could handle. He comes out of that raccoon fight without a single scratch, something his dad proudly notices and celebrates. A regular baby would have ended up covered in scratches, crying non-stop, and probably with a couple of infections too. After all, raccoons that dig through garbage aren't exactly the cleanest creatures around. And here's the thing, even if Jack Jack does get hit by something that could actually hurt him, he can just turn intangible or transform into smoke. How do you even defeat a baby that powerful? And if he doesn't feel like using any of those powers to defend himself, he can simply turn into slime. This gooey form is even tougher than his regular body, but it comes with a bonus. Jack Jack becomes super sticky, meaning he can trap anyone who tries to touch him. On top of that, he gets really flexible in this slimy shape. We don't know exactly how flexible, but it's possible he could even stretch like his mom while transformed. Another one of Jack Jack's defensive powers is the ability to turn into metal, kind of like Colossus from X-Men. When he does this, he becomes not only tougher, but also way heavier, which can come in handy if someone's holding him right when he decides to transform. That's exactly what happens the first time this ability shows up. When Syndrome tries to kidnap Jack Jack, you can bet Mr. Incredible's arch nemesis had never held a baby that heavy before. One of Jack Jack's most complex powers is his dimensional jump. With it, he can disappear and travel to another dimension. It's like this other dimension overlaps with ours. He can still see everything around him, but no one else can see or touch him. They can only hear him. This ability is incredibly useful since he basically becomes invincible while in that dimension. If Jack Jack were ever losing a fight, he could just hop dimensions and escape without anyone being able to hit or even find him. If he could attack people from there too, this power would definitely rank even higher on the list. But it might already be more powerful than we think, because the device used to track him while he's in that alternate world actually calls it the fourth dimension. Anyone who knows a bit of physics understands that the fourth dimension represents time itself. So does that mean Jack Jack might be able to use this power to time travel? If that gets confirmed in The Incredibles 3, this one's shooting straight to the top of the list. Now here's a power Jack Jack uses quite a lot, and it's seriously destructive, shooting laser beams from his eyes. In The Incredibles 2, he causes total chaos with his lasers, blasting through stuff effortlessly. The only real weakness lasers have? Mirrors. They can reflect them. The exact same weakness that Gazer Beam's energy rays had. A superhero from the past with a similar ability. This is also the one power his family can actually use to their advantage. All they have to do is hold him like a little weapon to make him shoot lasers, and they can even choose between constant fire or quick bursts. Interestingly, his lasers are green in the second movie, but the first time we ever saw them, in the short Jack Jack attack, they were purple. Was that just a retcon, or is there an actual explanation for the color change? Maybe Jack Jack's powers are constantly evolving. Jack Jack's got tons of powers, we already know that, but apparently, he's also a fan of big numbers, because one of his abilities lets him duplicate himself. That's right, the baby can clone himself until there are several Jack Jacks running around. If one of him already causes chaos, imagine 10! This ability alone would already be super powerful, but in the hands of a baby with so many other powers, he could literally become an unstoppable army. We don't know exactly how many clones he can make, but the movie makes it pretty clear it's a lot. The subscribe button is right there, waiting for you. How about clicking and keeping up with everything we post? Sometimes it's easy to forget that The Incredibles is a Disney movie, because seriously, who would have thought Disney would let a baby have the power to turn into a demon? But Jack Jack can, and it's one of his most iconic abilities. He always turns into this wild red monster whenever he gets angry, which honestly feels like his own version of a Hulk transformation. While in this form, Jack Jack shows incredible strength, and let's be real, everyone around him looks absolutely terrified when they see him like that. One of the powers Jack Jack uses the most when spreading chaos is combustion. He can create and control fire, and even ignite himself to become a flaming baby. Basically, it's the same ability as the Human Torch from Fantastic Four. This is one of the most dangerous powers the little guy has, since he can cause massive fiery explosions with almost no effort. Another one of Jack Jack's elemental powers allows him to transform into water, and even though he hasn't used it much, it might be one of his strongest abilities, strong enough to earn 3rd place on this list. Besides being immune to physical attacks, which is also a side effect of some of his other powers, Jack Jack could theoretically turn himself into a living tsunami if he ever masters this ability. Can you imagine being hit by a gigantic wave and nearly drowning? That's a terrifying experience that the youngest member of the Parr family could unleash on anyone. Surprisingly, Jack Jack's second most powerful ability is one he hasn't used much, but it's insanely strong. We're talking about electromagnetism, the power to manipulate electricity and electromagnetic fields. The little guy shoots out some electric bolts briefly when Mr. Incredible first discovers his powers, but that's not the reason electromagnetism ranks so high on the list. The real reason is because there's a scene in the movie where Jack Jack creates an electromagnetic pulse that completely knocks out the power in Edna Mode's entire mansion, which is massive, by the way. That means his electromagnetism has a huge range and can do way more than just shoot lightning. In the future, he might even be able to manipulate metal, just like Magneto. But the most dangerous power Jack Jack has shown so far, and the strongest one on the list, is the ability to grow in size. This one isn't potential, it's already terrifyingly strong. Jack Jack can turn into a giant and become an unstoppable force, smashing through walls and taking down multiple superheroes without breaking a sweat. A true little monster. The fun doesn't stop here. There are 2 amazing videos waiting for you on the screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.